Hello, my name is David Charles Rowan, and this is just a very brief glance at an astrological chart. And this particular chart is a question. In astrology, there are birth charts when we draw or cast a chart for the time and place that a person is born. So when the person takes the first breath, how the celestial sphere appears from that specific location on the planet's surface at that exact moment in time. There's another way of doing astrology, which is called horary astrology, which comes from the notion of the hour. And that's to use astrology as a tool of divination. So, similar to the way that a person might shuffle a deck of tarot cards or cast runes, an astrologer, receives a question, and a chart is drawn for the exact time and location of when the astrologer receives the question. So, if somebody posts a question by snail mail, whenever it reaches the astrologer, that's the moment the chart is calculated. So, I was in the garden earlier, and I had just had an urge and I thought, oh, one little win today. I thought, oh, I might do a chart on that. Immediately I had to down tools, come in and open up the software for the exact minute that I thought of the question. And it was 15:44 this afternoon. It's now 16:35, having finished the garden things. So I'm going to do this briefly because I want to record this just as a general idea and get it up on YouTube before the kickoff at 5. So then there's absolutely no way that any minute of what takes place could have influenced the outcome of what I'm going to say. Okay, so in horary astrology, there's a few things one looks at first of all to make sure that it's okay to read, right? So if you went to the temple of in Delphi and you wanted to consult the oracles, sometimes the gods might not be in the mood to listen. So likewise with horary astrology, there are certain conditions that have to be met that lets you know the chart is radical, or in other words, okay to read. And if the chart isn't radical, then it's not okay to read. Just to let you know, you might notice as well that there are certain planets missing in horary astrology, which is a traditional way of looking at astrology. Planets that need a telescope to see them, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, for example, wouldn't be shown because they didn't know they existed. And also the particular house system or calculation of the areas of the chart, dividing the sky into sections. They used, or William Lilly in Elizabethan times, used a house system called Regiomontanus, which you can see here. It says Regiomontanus. So this is as close to how he would have worked. In other words, it's been calculated in the William Lilly style from the 17th century. And also the aspects or angles between planets are calculated using his mathematical computations, which assigns the magnitude or sphere of a particular angle to the planet instead of to the angular relationship itself, which is what modern people do. So as close as possible, apart from this being drawn in a square, this is kind of a William Lilly style calculation, just to make possible the notion that this might be any easier. Now, a couple of things to look for. Is the ascendant in the first 3 degrees or the last 3 degrees of the sign? So here's the ascendant. It's about 4 or 5 degrees away from the end of Scorpio, so therefore it's in place. That's good. The moon is not void of course. It's at 10 degrees Virgo, and here's Mars at 17 Taurus. So when the moon moves to 17 degrees Virgo, it will be trine the Mars exact, which means that the moon will make an angular relationship, at least one, before it leaves that sign. Therefore, it's not void of course. Therefore, we can go ahead and get an idea. So, in horary astrology, the ascendant denotes the questioner, the descendant denotes the answer, and also the house which is pertinent to the question. This is a sporting question, and so the 5th house is also of interest, the house of games and sports. Now, in traditional astrology, Pluto wasn't seen as the ruler of Scorpio because they didn't know Pluto existed. So Mars was the ruler of Scorpio. So in other words, the condition of Mars is the answer. Sorry, denotes the question. I'm just going to switch my phone on so it doesn't keep interrupting us. And therefore, the descendant is the answer. Now, Taurus is on the descendant, and that means the answer is ruled by Venus. So the condition of Venus lets us know the answer. Okay? So there are three things to look at. We look at the ascendant for the person who's asking the question. That's always important. Is the person asking the question correct, incorrect, desperate, relaxed, that sort of thing? Is the answer pertinent? Is there anything obstructing the answer? Is there anything that gives credence to the answer? And also we'll look at the fifth house as well, because there's something that takes place through the period of time that the match goes on, you see. We'll look at that in a moment. You'll notice on the right-hand side here, this has been switched to a thing that says animation, and there are controls here, similar to the controls that you might get on a video machine, for example, which means that we can move the whole thing forwards in time and backwards in time. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Okay, first of all then, to the questioner. The condition of Mars. Now Mars is in Taurus in the 6th house of skills, that's okay, but it's conjunct the North Node. This is good. This suggests that the future of the question is with the questioner. Quite literally, the future, North Node, is with the questioner. So that suggests an outcome is favourable to the questioner's position. The questioner's position in this case being, will England win? But when we look at the aspects, there are some difficulties here. Now, in traditional astrology, certain aspects are considered benefic. Other aspects are considered malefic. Certain planets are considered benefic. Certain planets are considered malefic. The moon is trine of the Mars. This is good. The sun is square, but the sun is square at 9 degrees. The moon is trine at 7. So the moon is closer to the questioner than the sun is. So although the sun is square, the moon is stronger because it's closer to being 0 or exact. But even closer than that is Mercury at 5 degrees. Now, the 5 degree square for Mercury is a problem. This suggests something about skill, because Mercury rules Virgo, skills, but it is separating. So that means that that's getting weaker. Good news for the questioner is this sextile to Venus. It's at 1 degree applying. Now remember that Mars is the questioner and Venus is the answer. So the questioner and the answer are in harmony, almost exact. There is a problem from Saturn, the planet of history, and the culmination of hard work, the harvest, if you like. If things have been built up progressively, if the hard work has been done, then there can be reward. If the hard work hasn't been done, or things haven't been built up progressively, then everything can collapse like a pack of cards. And Saturn is square the Mars. This isn't favourable at all. However, it's a 5 degree from exactitude square, which means that this sextile from the Venus intersects it. So far, so good. There's the conjunction to the North Node, suggesting that the future is with the questioner. And there's a trine to the midhaven. The opposition to the ascendant means it's close to the descendant. So this again suggests that the questioner is close to the answer. Right? Or in other words, they are blended together. Because if something is opposite the ascendant, that means it's conjunct the descendant. And the Mars is trine the midhaven, which suggests success is seen to be with the questioner. Trine the midhaven. This is good. Right? In fact, that's incredibly favourable, and it's at 0 degrees as well. 0 degrees applying. So that's powerful. Okay? So far, from the questioner's perspective, There are struggles, there are some challenges, but on the whole, it looks favourable. So let's look at the answer. Okay, there's Venus in Cancer in the 8th house of mystery, secret, but also of power. Cancer is a sign of the home. Now, that's a familiar kind of motif, right? For England, fans of the England football team of any gender you like, the notion that Britain, England, is the homeland of football is a very, very common motif. And so for this to be happening on home turf, as it were, suggests that there's something to do with this game, the answer of this match, resonating or resounding with the homeland. That's favourable from an England perspective because it's taking place in the capital city of England. And if that weren't enough, Venus is sextile or harmonious to the moon itself. So this also suggests that, quite literally, the answer is coming home. Right. There's Venus making a harmonious angle, as we've already found, to the questioner. Venus is square the Jupiter. This suggests a challenge from overseas. Right? But the challenge from overseas is 7 degrees wide of exactitude. And it's separating, which suggests the challenge from overseas is not to be dismissed. Absolutely not. But it is waning in its strength. The Venus is also in harmonious aspect, only 1 degree away from exactitude, with the success of the future, with the North Node. And the Venus is at 0 degrees in harmony with the Midhaven itself. So far, all of this adds up to it's about 75% in favour. All right, it's not like an outright yeah, but it's 75% in favour with some obstacles and things thrown in. But what I want to show you with this animation thing is this. You notice that the time of the question was 1544. Now, if I adjust that to 1650, or yes, 1650, there we go. Just watch this kind of thing here. You'll see this jump now forwards in time. There you go. You see it's changed to 1650 in the top left corner. It's also changed to 1650 in this animation part. And the chart has moved around. Now, the reason I've done that is it's 1 minute away from a change. So the kickoff is at 5. So it's 1650, which is, in fact, 4 minutes from now, this happens. The outcome, the questioner, remember that, Mars represents the questioner, moves into the 5th house of sports and games. And Mars, the warrior, goes through the 5th house of sports and games through the match, and it continues going through that place and all the way through the match until, if we jog forward to 1817, and there you notice that the questioner then moves into the 4th house of the home, and that's 1817. All right, so there's a suggestion from that again there's another part of the motif of football coming home literally from 1817 onwards, which is just about just around the 90-minute mark, isn't it? Almost, yeah. So there you go. There's a bit of an idea, right? This thing might go on beyond that. In fact, it could be, up to more than 90 minutes, I would have thought. But still, there could be penalties, there could be all sorts of things. I'm not sure about that. I don't know anything technically about football at all, right? That's another advantage of me doing this, because I'm not interested that much in football. I don't follow it, I don't support a team, but I like these kind of zeitgeist moments, and I just thought that I'd share this chart with you of 1544 when I asked this question, just so that you can have a bit of an idea of, Horary astrology, see what it's like. You can see what's suggested in the chart, right? So I'm going to upload this now before that whistle starts. And that means then that you can have a bit of an insider view of what might take place over the next hour and a half or so. And does it work? Right? So I'm going to take a gamble, a professional gamble, stick my head on the block, put my head above the precipice, and say, okay, here's the declaration. I think it's going to be an England win. Right? Check it out, see if it works. And if not, then, well, moan, gripe, and complain, and you'll have every right to do so. But if they win, and that means then that there's some astrology correlation with a winning match. All right, take care. Deep breath. Let's see how this goes. All right, see you later. Yeah, bye.